Well,
Yeah, so I'm Brandon
hi,
of Trend Systems, and we started a nonprofit around these topics of privacy, digital accessibility, and inclusion. And so we're building some of the infrastructure for that, from the peer-to-peer interfaces to the user experience that is extensible and usable and modifiable by communities. And yeah, our purpose around this is for science education and the underprivileged. And we believe that non-technical people also fall into that, and a lot of people have trouble with the technology landscape that we're currently living in, and we're all being forced online and sort of forced to use these tools, whereas before people could sort of say, yeah, like I don't need to use them, like it's not really a necessity. But now it's sort of becoming a necessity, and we've been working on this for a while, sort of seeing this trend coming down the pipeline. And so it's been about 3 years of active development around the infrastructures and the interfaces. Howdy.
Hello.
hello there.
Welcome, Kahlil.
Telling us about what you guys have been developing and what he's been doing, and we're just getting to know each other and working towards inclusion of everything.
Nice.
My name's Lyra. This is Nate, my partner.
Nice to meet y'all. Kahlil.
And we're representing Great Works Alliance here in the framework that we've been developing and putting together, that we've been talking with Jordan about. So.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah. So Brandon was just kind of going over kind of why they decided to start working on what they're working on, and kind of what the challenges were and what they've seen coming and what they've been building based off of what they've seen. So
Nice.
you can continue,
Yeah.
Brandon.
Say again?
Oh, I just said you can continue.
Oh yeah, I would love to hear like where everyone is at in terms of like, are you guys familiar with any of the stuff that we've been publishing or online, or yeah? Oh, cool.
I've been doing some homework on you guys, trying to get prepared and where your stance is, so I can have some better questions for you if there was something I had a hang up on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't see a whole lot of challenges ahead, really, other than on the technical aspects. And,
Right. I mean,
time management, getting in sync between all of our different projects. Callie, if I'm not butchering your name, where are you coming from? Are you on Civil X side? Are you working with Brandon?
Actually, I was introduced to the project from Jordan, and I'm a Unity developer, and I work a lot. I have kind of like a mapping full stack kind of past, but over the last couple 3 years, I've really gotten pulled into AR and world space AR, kind of like Pokemon Go style technology. And I've been certifying in Unity development, so learning a lot of C# and just how the game engine works. And but yeah, I'm all over the place technically, but this project is right in alignment with where I see technology being used for good in the world. So I'm really excited about the whole project.
yeah, same. We really see a lot of bright opportunities, especially with the practically the tech industry sabotaging itself.
Oh yeah.
It really seems like it's just more and more. And we ship software. We do music visualizations.
Yeah.
We also have an app on the iTunes App Store, and about almost 3 years now, when we started officially dedicating our time to this project, one of the key things that led our lead engineer into saying, yeah, enough's enough, was us getting deplatformed off of the Apple App Store, for an infraction that was incorrect. It was more than likely a junior developer didn't really know, and they saw something that they thought was fishy and just closed it down. And that was like right at the beginning of our growth trajectory. And as you know, like independent developers, like sort of like you get one shot, to really make a splash and an impact, And it seems like that was kind of taken from us in a way. We did get back in the App Store, and our app is still there today, but obviously that set in motion a new trajectory for what we were trying to accomplish, which was to remove the dependencies and the reliances on big tech, for fundamental communications. And that's really important for us to address.
Yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment. I think 2020 is kind of like a split in the machine. There's like people who are like, save us. And then there's people who are like, man, we've been telling you this shit for 10 years. It's time to be sovereign. It's time to be independent. There's the technology for us to kind of decentralize is here, and really excited to like see what this split's going to look like. But I mean, just even with Facebook in October 1 changing it seems like they're trying to piss everyone off. They're saying that artists can't stream their music now, and they're going to censor anybody they want. I mean, it's definitely opportunities knocking for all of us.
Yeah, agreed. And there couldn't be a better time for it, and actually, in this case, foresight will have been 2020, so, and that's what we're aiming for. Like, we want to make a huge splash with this, and have it be grassroots supported, and that's why we set it up as a nonprofit. So
that's awesome.
I love that. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that this conversation could happen, because I know a lot of us are moving forward, taking large steps, and also working together. Since my last video, a lot of that I put out for Civil X, a lot of people have been reaching out and wanting to work together and bringing in loads of skills and opportunity. So I just wanted to make sure that we all are on the same page, and that as we move forward, that we can be in alliance with Plan. And also then after some of the questions have been asked and some things can be filled in, I would then like to kind of check in and see how we can help Plan. How can we get Plan out there, bring workers into Plan? I can make promo videos for Plan as that's needed, just wanting to, because I know that like we all want to be a part of this, and Plan needs to be supported so that we can all be a part of that. And so I want to make sure we're on the same page, and that we're also all helping each other to make this a reality faster. I know it's a reality, just, the more help, more hands, lighter the load.
Yeah, I appreciate that sentiment, Jordan. And it'd probably be a great place to start to just show you guys where we're currently at in terms of the interfaces. And then as that sort of like plants a seed in the imagination, and we can talk about what's underneath that, because that's what's really important, is the architecture that is going to be supporting these systems. So does that sound...
I'm not a programmer. I'm coming from the enthusiast side. I've worked with a lot of programmers in the past without knowing how to, just using diagnostics and stuff, and trying to find ways of relatability, like using construction as an example, to build a track and understand the mechanics and how everything's working together. So for me, the way I work, do you guys have anything like a front end visual infrastructure build out?
Yeah,
like
that's what I was
mind
going to
maps,
show.
Diagramming, maybe in longhand without abbreviations.
Yeah, we're getting there actually. The best part is yet to come, because really what I'm showing you today is just placeholder infrastructure, and it's the stuff that we're like, it's sort of like the structure that we're hanging and framing things on. So the really important things that will stand out in this demo will be like the menu system, right? The way that the interface sort of breaks up the screen, and the spaces, although they'll be empty because content has a high tax to it, especially like really visual interactive content. And that's where when we get a larger team of Unity professionals to come and think about that content portion, then those environments expand and become more available. Especially on the AR side, it takes that much next level of dedication to optimization in order to get your scenes to be, you know, usable. And so, but what we're demoing, keep in mind, scales across all platforms, from a handheld touchscreen device all the way to a desktop. So when you're watching this video, keep that in mind, that like we can already, you know, compare to a handset or a tablet, and the extension is already there because we're using Unity as that front end development framework. So I'll start that up real quick here. It should have some, let's see, audio in there too. It's gonna go really quick. I can play it twice if you want, but it is very fast demo. So maybe I'll just play it the first time, and then we'll take the sound off, and then you can ask any questions that you have about what's on the screen. All right, can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tigger, did you just fart?
All right. So just to, I guess, recap on a few things, what you see here is, you know, a menu system driven by panels, and the panels, of course, you need them in a 3D environment. You need those panels to stack, you know, and we're also basing this on, you know, 3D spaces. It doesn't have to be a 3D space, but, you know, since we're using Unity, I think that, you know, that's really the place that people are going to want to experience maps and interactive content, you know, from, you know, whether that's videos or files that you're placing in a space and making it a space for a file system, or whether you're using that space for an immersive world, you know, that is maybe a land development that is actually really in existence, or, you know, a construction site, or, you know, a neighborhood watch, you know. And the point is that you're in these spaces collaboratively. It's not just like, you know, this is on your device and it's a device specific operating system. It's a peer-to-peer system. So when, you know, you start one of these environments, you know, it starts as private, but you start inviting people in, and now you're collaborating with the constituents that you now invited into those spaces, you know. And so it's the infrastructure itself that is supporting that is really important to understand. And so the things like chat and you know, and even like an internet browser are really like low threshold tools that show up really early on, right? They are already work in our system. We have an internet browser, we have chat, we have basic spreadsheet functionality. But as this progresses, the spreadsheet itself is what is going to be powering the space channels. So as you're dropping channels and files in a space, there's an editor view somewhere that is keeping track of everything that you're doing, you know, all the way from forms that are collecting files to channels that you're placing on a map. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What about interconnectivity to using NoSQL?
Say it again.
Have you thought about including NoSQL?
Like SQL?
No.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of SQL.
You said Node SQL?
No, as in
Number. N-O.
number October.
Oh, no. Okay, no SQL.
Yeah.
Well, so the thing about our platform is that it's an open system. So if there's an API out there, you know, the chances are the integration is possible. But, you know,
Right.
we're so on the back end, we're using Go
Right.
along with protobufs, and we've developed a distributed database layer that is much like GraphQL, but it's our own flavor of that essentially provides the peer-to-peer collaboration and the federation. So that way you can, you know, some of these things aren't finished yet though. So, you know, like there's a lot of work to be done, but you know, to break it down into layman's terms, you know, it's a network utility that you don't have to be a network professional to be able to set up and participate in.
Nice.
Right.
That's great. I like it.
So yeah, what you saw here is basically, I guess, our initial implementation is where it's a tab-based system. So, you know, these tabs scale down to a small device by stacking when you need them to, but when it's opened up like this, like you see here, you know, you can just drag them and let them take up any part of the screens that you want. Or if you're running like a multi-screen setup, you know, you can imagine like dedicating a different channel tab or a tab interface to each screen that you're running. So whether it's collaborative audio, video, chat conferencing kind of things, or building a map while you're chatting, you know, you can multitask your environments. And we think that's really important for people like first responders and humanitarians and community organizers who are essentially going to be in spreadsheets and maps to try to understand their environments and their organizations' processes. And we think that that's a really important part of those processes. In fact, we know it is. And so, yeah, and that's sort of the overview. Are there any questions, by the way, before I, you know, turn it over to somebody else to chat a little bit?
Not on our end.
Shit. I'm sorry. I got loudspeakers.
Did you make that song?
Oh, that's my friend's song, actually. His one of my campmates for my
Your burn buddies?
my burn buddies.
Nice, I liked it.
So it's kind of like this is like a content management system, but like with so many different APIs involved, just kind of consolidated in a 3D space.
Yeah, that's the idea.
I love it.
You know, it'll start pretty simple, but as people come with their own use cases and imaginative needs,
Yeah.
you know, or they just build this world and the world is just their desktop environment, you know. The way that it's set up right now is that you've got a device and then you've got the additional spaces which you would be able to invite people into and collaborate with them. So I'm really going for this on the interface side, and then as far as aspirationally, I'd really like to revamp the entire U.S. Emergency communication system, because the fact that we're still on ham radio is ridiculous. You know? So
yeah, we had the same idea. Like a 911 system for the people and comprised of the people, just compartmentalized according to their expertise and their knowledge as well as their vicinity.
Phone trees.
So like for example, okay, you're getting harassed by someone with a badge or proposed authority, and you know better, and you're like, hey, just leave me alone, stay off my property, let's go through proper procedure. They're not doing it. Okay, so you can do like a live thing connected to multiple platforms, Facebook, whatever, so you can get other people involved in knowing exactly what's going on, maybe call for help for you while you're doing this thing. At the same time, you have access to an app to click on that, as well as manage other options at the same time as they do. So your neighbor hears about this, you click on this, they're like part of the neighborhood watch kind of a scenario. And you've got different types of people with different skills and passions, including their vocations. You might have a bunch of bikers in the neighborhood. You might have some lawyers and doctors and everything, medical personnel, different types of responders, and they can all create like their own wall type barricade between you and those people trying to invade your space.
Sovereignty, your rights, everything.
And help record and enforce the proper chain of custody or chain of actions to be done. They could be witnesses, and they can be right there on the scene to take care of any kind of emergency, like just perform a simple blockade. Nothing infringing on anybody, not breaking any laws or rules or statutes or anything. And it can all go up to reinforcing the internal investigations that are already supposed to be happening and the oversight committees that aren't adequate right now in doing their job.
Yeah. And that is exactly the kind of stuff that shows up, once the infrastructure is in place, where, projects can come along and say, yeah, this is the perfect infrastructure for us to deploy on and have our own distributed communication system that has the live streaming and that it's backing up in an emergency case, and those kind of features are built in and sort of provisioned for. And yeah, that is a huge part of the roadmap. My background is in the Air Force. Actually, I used to work with combat search and rescue. I set up a contingency response group in Guam that was designated to respond to humanitarian situations in the Pacific. And I went out to Afghanistan a couple times with Rescue Medevac and doing, field pickups of injured people, and using, chat systems and basic communication systems such as spreadsheets to help my pilots understand the scenarios and the issues that were going on the ground and in, that could potentially, disrupt their mission to, pick up an injured Afghani or soldier, because we didn't discriminate on who we picked up. So, but at the same time, we needed to be sure that the pilots are going to be able to stay safe through their journey. And so, yeah, I'm taking that experience and sort of applying it to the community organization aspect that I learned through being a city planner of Freezer Burn for 7 years. And so, trying to understand the needs of an event or a group of people that is coming to live together in an area for a period of time, and what does it take to get the people in the places that they need to be in, and you know, where everybody's on the same planning page. And
Right.
so this is really a lot about like the logistics of like how organizations organize and are able to act, you know, at their own level. So yeah, so that's how we're framing it, and that's our mission. And yeah, super glad that you guys show up and participate with us. I would love to hear what you're thinking, and especially on the Unity developer side, like you know, if there's any points of inspiration that you see here, or any areas that are you know, most exciting or engaging to you guys.
Yeah. I like the world feature where it kind of popped up, you know, and that you had like your notes were locations. Curious about, you know, Unity like bringing in packages, external packages for worlds, and also GeoJSON files, and if you've worked with any kind of geodata with your system.
Yeah, absolutely. We're inventing like a GeoJSON 2.0.
Right.
And it's very simple. It's based on a simple abstraction of links and nodes, you know, sort of the fabric of reality, the fabric of networks, but you visualize that. So yeah, we're writing a new spec that will, you know, incorporate what we call space channels and allow developers to use that spec to drive development of this this new GeoJSON spec. So that will, the benefit of that is that, you know, now that you're sharing that GeoJSON in the form, you know, that's not what we're calling it, but that's essentially what it is, you know, in the space, and it has time as part of that. So it really is a time space visualizer.
Nice.
You know, and because the infrastructure matches that, the fact that we're in this 3D engine now, so there's no web constraints, there's no web layer constraints, right? You're on the metal, like you can run a full application and take on the full load of the, you know, take advantage of the full power of the machine, you know, but the infrastructure that we're attaching to that, because it has those qualities of that GraphQL style database, you know, that front end visualizer will be a cross associative database. So you'll be able to visualize your files for the first time in a cross associative way, where now the relationships aren't just a one-to-one. Like you're not just clicking on a link and it just only goes to one place, right? Now you can imagine a node having several relationships and several links to a lot of different places, you know, the same way a network graph helps you imagine that. And those are the idioms that we'll bring into the user interface so that people can build their mind maps and have abstract mind maps that allow them to build file structures, or build relationship structures,
yeah,
or build a timeline that goes off into the distance, you know, or follows a roadmap, for example.
I love that. I love that addition of time and space, because like I can just picture how like timeline is so important to geodata, especially for kind of responders and civic projects where you really need to see change in data and the timeline. So really interested to see how you've adapted the GeoJSON, which is you know, really using some of that GeoJSON to pull up persistent augmented reality objects.
Yeah.
And that was my other question, was like, you know, on-demand asset retrieval. Like say we would have 3D packages that were scans of locations or objects. Do you have any feedback on the best way where your system would work with external packages?
Yeah, Unity provides a process for this, and in order to go into specifics, I'll get you on a conversation with my lead dev. But essentially, we are provisioning for exactly that, you know, and I think we're just a few months away from being able to do that. in terms of having a package that is exported by Unity and then bringing it in to your, to your local environment. So the future is essentially that the infrastructure supports that in the same distributed fashion that it would support all of your files and everything else. We don't currently have all of that working yet, but that's what we're provisioning for in our roadmap, and that's what we're raising money for and why we're building the team, is so that we can finish building and those critical pieces, right? And we know that the file sharing aspect is what gets us bringing these packages in from Unity directly into the plan environment. So you build in Unity, you follow the export instructions and follow the import instructions, and now that is your community's playground, or the spaces that define your community, the containers.
Love it. Beautiful.
And each of those containers is encrypted end to end, and so yeah, we're building the team, and love to bring this conversation forward. And yeah, appreciate you connecting us, Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan's the man, huh?
I just want to make sure that everyone has opportunities, because everyone I talk to is feeling this same vision, and I see people moving towards this vision, and everyone has such different pieces to play, and there's no longer, in my mind, it's no longer about competition. It's about how much can we collaborate? How much can we come together and let our talents and our skills shine? And where we don't know things, we can connect and truly build towards a better future. And, I see that with all of you, and that's why I've brought us together. And that's the only people I choose to work with, people who are more excited about finding where we connect, because there's other people building these games, but a lot of them are like in a competition kind of mindset almost. And so to me, it's really important that we all get on the same page so that we can all be compatible, so that if somebody finds what I'm doing, they can be introduced to what you're doing, and you can have more developers in this area. Let it naturally flow where the people want to go, kind of thing, or what the people need. So it's really important to me that I connect to people that have that shared fire of collaboration and bringing a better future forward.
So we've been looking at it from the website, where we can include like transmedia, and basically we're saying that
Thank you,
we're a mirror,
guys,
of everything that you guys are after, and same pursuits and everything. We're just coming from a different lens on the website, like a web portal, SaaS or provider, like a framework on that side, rather than in game or in a localized spot. And we're trying to be agnostic as well. So we've been looking at, or zooming into web tools to try to create that, and what's going to be most compatible, following open source tracking and licensing and documentation and everything. And we're all in the same spirit, and so we're looking at CMSs, and right now it looks like the most compatible with everything on these different layers seems to be like Grav CMS or Netlify. I wonder if you guys have ever worked with them or up to date on their technologies and capabilities.
No, not particularly. I haven't actually. Have you?
I haven't. I'm just looking up Grass CMS, and
What's that?
I was just looking up Grass CMS right now, seeing what is it a PHP framework or
A bit.
Grav, Grav, right?
A bit. Yeah.
Oh, okay, Grass.
Gravity.
I thought you said Grass.
Yeah, it's a flat file system.
Oh, Grav, a modern flat file CMS.
Yeah.
Nice.
It looks like Netlify might actually be a little bit more user friendly, not coming from a programming perspective. With Grav, they want you to do a bit of it with Twig, and like you can use other languages and everything. They've got skeletons set up and different themes. At the same time, dealing with software since it became like a public thing back in the 80s, when we all got started on the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Going down through all those rabbit holes. I'm too old for that. I want to put
Yeah.
myself in the same shoes as someone else too. Like, this is a lot. You know, we're already trying to tackle a lot of stuff, and we were thinking about the same things. And okay, like for a nonprofit stance versus government structures, the state or the county are going to have services that they provide, yet they don't have the spirit of intent to actually take care of you. They treat you like you're completely disposable. And
so today, case in point.
and most of what they serve or provide are just short-term band-aids that they're not engineered to stack up to build you out of wherever you are, whatever hardship or frustration that might be, to a position of stability and
Self-sustainability.
fair health, basically. Whether you're looking for work or you're on unemployment or you're homeless, it doesn't matter. They all seem to mimic the same thing. And then the nonprofits, they don't have the structure, yet generally speaking, they're all, you know, want to serve. They've got a great spirit of intent behind them. And at the same time, we see a lot of distortion and separation between them. It's kind of cutthroat. They don't want to talk to each other. They don't understand how to do business. They don't understand how to really do what they want to do. And they're afraid to work and collaborate with others so they can accomplish their ultimate objectives. So that's kind of an area that we've been focusing on in, okay, what are some gaps in what we've been able to see, what we can research, and we're all about networking. So just like Jordan helped facilitate here, he networked. He's like, hey, you guys are all in the same niche, saying the same things. Let's try to put our pieces together so they all fit and support each other for the ultimate goals. So going back to the project I was elaborating on is like, okay, in whatever zip code you're in, we need something that has a map and can tie in like a yellow book or yellow pages or whatever. Not just the organization, but all the details that you need to have an actual guide that's step by step and who to call or what's your next step to overcome this next obstacle, while also including auditing abilities by those people. So a very short track to do whatever they need to do, whether it's find a resolution or find guidance in the next thing that they need. And that's a great way we could pull back in acquiring monies with contracts for the county and the state, because we're providing the same services that they should have been. And if they can audit other people or fine them for deficiencies in services, so can we.
Need more transparency, more public auditability, more
Yeah.
ability for the public to be able to interact within their communities. I mean, we still have city council meetings that are not being able to happen because of COVID-19. And one welfare office we went to today is closed. There are people in the office. One person came out to get a package, and I stopped her, and she was totally very disrespectful, did not want to have anything to do with me, told me to call this phone number, which goes into her office so I could talk to her on the phone, because she didn't want to talk to me face to face. And then I get on the phone with her, and she hangs up on me. You know, these kind of
Constant blocks.
blocks are what are causing a lot of people to become homicidal, suicidal, looting and pillaging and destroying property, that because they aren't able to properly get their needs met.
Mhm.
And we should be able to have that taken care of. That should not be an issue in this reality. And
Yeah. Well, and the way I like to look at this, I guess, is that, you know, we're really interested in helping create the infrastructure that really shouldn't be monetized. You know,
Right.
the privacy you know, the fact that you can run a distributed ledger and keep track of your important documentation and your medical records and, you know, and any, you know, let's say an important video stream that you might want to record and keep around. But, you know, it's also only a small piece of the puzzle, right? Having a distributed infrastructure, like you can't just put everything on an immutable record, right? Some things you want local, some things you want to get rid of, you know?
Right.
And so this is really an effort to create a complete framework, something that brings in the peer-to-peer aspects of communications, you know, like, and, you know, bridges that together with that distributed framework, but also gives you an interface so that you can actually use it, you know, which is really the most important critical part. Like, okay, you've built this great framework, you know, it does all these great private things, privacy features, and maybe inclusiveness features, but you didn't spend enough time making sure people could use it. So that's also a really big part of this is designing it for non-technical users and for, you know, laymen's, you know, because, you know, as much as, you know, you want to hope that every teacher knows everything about everything, you know, like that's a lot to manage. So like taking the barriers to entry off of people's plates in terms of having to understand how to set up a network and use, you know, basic tools, you know, but then also leaving plenty of room for an ecosystem to arise out of this where people can build solutions, offer their own content and services to each other, and, you know, fuel entrepreneurship and innovation so that we're not just stuck on Mac and Windows slow deprecation into like bullshit land, you know. So,
Yeah, that's really important. Everybody has full control over their own content and information, and the ability to go and decide, okay, well, I want to share this, or
well, and that
I want to go ahead and monetize. What are the options?
That the data model itself is compatible with the way that human relationships work and how we come together and split apart all the time for various reasons, you know. So yeah, so that's where we're at. We have donation pages set up. I have a peer-to-peer donation infrastructure in place. We even have a little a gear store that we plan to expand in the future to include hardware utilities and security utilities, you know, like keyless fobs that you can just, you know, pull out of your computer and take all of your data with you, you know. So yeah, we think that that's a huge part of like this new paradigm that we're stepping into, where cyber warfare is a real thing that actually exists, and that we have to do something about it at our local level, and nobody's going to do that for us. So,
Brandon, would you mind sending us a copy of what you've got, even just on a bare bones structure, for the donation setup? We've been working on a donation tree design too.
sure.
Jordan knows a little bit about it. We're focusing it on being focused towards character traits. I don't know how much you guys know about positive psychology.
Only enough to avoid it, I guess. I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Not a lot. Not a lot.
It's basically an expanded version of the golden rule.
Okay, I like that rule.
Yeah, I mean, the whole concept is no infringement, which as Americans, we understand that concept. You got your space, I got my space. When they collide, there has to be consent. If there's not consent, that's called an injury, right?
Yeah. And what you're talking about there in our terms is called community federation, and how, you know, how communities come together and decide what channels to share and what, you know, what rules to follow in terms of how that sharing happens, you know. So it's wrapped up in community governance and also this idea of federation and specific governance rules for federations. And obviously there's a lot of work there. Like that's a huge bag of work, right? Because it's complicated. Relationships are complicated. Network structures are complicated. And the good news is we only have to build it once. And the way that we're structured as a nonprofit is every sponsorship that we accept and take on and build a team to accomplish, that's another ring of functionality that we are able to distribute into the plan code base. So,
Which one? That's what I'm
All
All right, Lyra will bring up on screen so you guys can see a little bit of what we got right now for how we break things down.
Should I try? What specifically were you looking for from on my side in terms of just
Visual
like the
diagrams
and stuff that I've already come up with?
Yeah, man.
Visual diagrams are awesome.
Yeah, I got all that stuff.
So we're overlaying chakra colors to help identify classes within the character traits, and then they expand out and overlap and interconnect with different areas of society. And
Oh, right. Like I think I saw that in the game demo, right?
yeah, how far did you get into that information from the website?
Are we talking the Civil X website?
Great Darks Alliance.
No, we're talking about the okay, right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of commonalities. Like, we're loving it.
No, that's true. Now that you mention it, just now putting that together, of course, yeah, there was that overlap of the circle.
So this is one of many breakdown documents. This goes into looking at the different chakras and how the character traits match up with them, and then what the strengths are. I'm still working on filling out some of this stuff, but we're talking about physical and psychological, harmonic frequency, resonance, and affirmations, games to help in developing and clearing each chakra, and how that it can help with your health and well-being, mentally and physically,
as well as the medical side.
Yeah, so
medical benefits or consequences that might present.
Which one are you looking at?
We'll go to the bottom.
Okay.
After games.
Mental
like
illness.
mental and physical illnesses that can arise.
And then how we would work on, helping individuals heal through missions for their own health and development, and improving their quality of life, and then offering other kinds of missions that are external missions based on what they're currently working on in themselves.
And surprise, surprise, it's driven by a spreadsheet.
Yeah. It can be crazy. I'm not a spreadsheet guy, and so it kind of like twists my mind a little bit in trying to think that way. And so we've got a little bit more
that I wanted to share here. This is the way we're looking at is our core in like the sectors of development. We have family-centered community development, family-centered being started with the internal and then expanding out based on proximity. And there are different areas within our community that we've identified that are like globally identified sectors within communities, and then attributing the different chakra frequencies with each of these sectors. Now within the sectors, there of course is going to be some deviation for different specific missions, but these are basic overall structures here.
Are those the solfeggio tones that are connected to the colors? No.
They are actually harmonic frequencies. So what I showed you over here, there's been a lot of study done on this, and the harmonic resonance frequency in terahertz is what we're looking at here. So that's this line I've highlighted all across.
Yeah, Kahlil, I think it is within that. It's like 28,432.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's beautiful. I love how they all interconnect and how this can help build the logic for the game, and it's really
we need
cool.
help with it.
Yeah.
You know, we have more of like the back end structure. We're looking at the ethical conduct and the pillars of ethics. We have a document. I don't know if you guys have looked through our introductory packet, but I'm gonna put a link in here for everyone to check out through the material that we have compiled thus far. It's 12 chapters. The back few chapters are basically legal documentation. And so, let's see.
Yeah, it's really great stuff. I've loved looking at it. It's very different than a lot of other game designers are putting forth right now. So I'm really excited that you guys are focusing on these aspects of it and sharing it, because just I think with your background and the way you guys think, you have a lot to offer as far as structure. And yeah, it actually, you know, you're from a military background, right? Like,
I am. Ex-Navy.
Yeah, so I feel like this is very aligned. I do have to go soon here at 6. So I just wanted to check in with Brandon, and I want to make sure that everyone also is just like able to ask the questions that they need. You know, like presentations are good and we can share those, and mainly is to set up for questions to make sure that everybody is set and can keep moving forward, because we all need to keep moving forward. So we can bring them together, but it's also important that we ask the right questions so that everything fits when we finally do come together. Brandon, I want to see what can I do to help bring more funding and more Unity developers, if those are the two main things that you need, towards your way. I can do media. I have access to quite a few different Unity developers, those that are in college taking classes. And then I just have access to quite a few groups and forums of different Unity developers. And then also to funders and people who would be willing to fund this. So what can I do to help support plan?
It would be great to have you as a facilitator moving forward and connecting with folks on those items. As you know, yeah, those are the big areas that we're looking to bring specific team members in to work on projects that we've identified that get us to MVP. What MVP looks like to us, a minimum viable project product, is, you know, what you've seen already, plus the ability to drop files, like to create the space itself can be a container for your files as a file system. The AV chat feature, and the audio video conferencing rather, and then the actual chat itself. You know, refining these sort of core you know, utilities that are the core channel infrastructure, the first channels that show up in plan, you know, and then, you know, as far as like icing on that cake, to me is like the VR stuff, you know, and being able to take that same stuff and have it be, you know, show up in VR environments as well. So people can start using that stuff, you know, for and seeing the flexibility of the interface showing up on VR, mobile, and desktop environments all at the same time. And so once we have that prototype that does those things, and we build a promo video that shows us essentially like, it's not going to be beta software, things that we would distribute, but we probably want to make a video at that point, and that video would really, I feel like, amp up the excitement, enthusiasm as those big features come together. But in order to get to that point, we're trying to raise 500K. So 500K is like our benchmark to MVP. In that first link that I sent, or the second link that I sent, the welcome to the team contributor content. It has some key positions that we're looking to fill, and we're working on a larger list of key positions. And yeah, we want to get, with the way that we're framing it, is sponsorships and partnerships. You know, developers are partnerships as we bring this technology forward. Sponsors are able to accelerate development of key things that fall on our roadmap that they need, you know. So
awesome. Well, I've got to go in the next 1 minute, so I just want to say I am very well skilled in video editing, and I feel like even just for the first part, for the first funding, that a video of a combination of the video you just showed us and somebody explaining kind of like, have you ever imagined being able to do this, this, and this, and kind of giving it in a way that I can put it on some of these different developer and gaming sites so that people can truly understand what's happening. Because it took me a while to truly understand what was really happening with Plan, and to truly see, because it's so big and it's so, you know, of course, I'm not like a huge tech genius, but it is so big and such a huge change that it is something to get your mind around. And so I'm really good at taking some bigger things and then creating a video that helps people through imagination and through imaging to wrap their minds around. So I would love to get with you more, Brandon, and work on that. And I'll continue to work with you. As you know, you don't have to get a hold of me to work with Plan. If you have your own ideas, if you want to bring things forward, like, please all feel free to work together. I don't want any control over who can talk to who. I don't think that works well, but I am so grateful for all of you. And I hope you all get the questions that you need answered, and I've got to go on to my next. So thank you so much all for your time.
And if you want to set up a follow-up to talk about Unity stuff specifically, and the user experience side, as a Unity developer, I'm happy to set that up.
Wonderful. I definitely have more Unity developers. I'll send you and get it planned for meetings. So I love you all. I'll see you next time.
All right, peace.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say, you know, like you're mentioning you need help with the VR aspect of things. I have a lot of ready to go implementations for Oculus Quest, and also some AR stuff. And I've been connecting WordPress content management system and Gravity forms into VR and AR, so you can add data through those forms. But even if as you're making promo videos or MVPs or even just prototypes for appeal to investors, I'd love to do some dev work with you and at least get a working prototype to show your concepts. I think with the templates I already have, you can make something pretty quick that would work with your system.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I'd love to work with you on that. So why don't we set up a follow-up?
Yeah.
I'll bring my lead Unity engineer on board, and we can have a discussion on next steps for that.
That sounds great, man. Yeah, I'll shoot my email here for any of y'all to reach out, and I'd love to talk more about your spreadsheet and how you guys were in that connection to the chakras and the energetics, because my other background is also wellness, so it's really close to my heart to see this integration of it come together. So that's my email.
And we want to be able to have an AR feature and a VR feature in this multiverse type concept that we've been putting together here. And I don't know if you've looked into Niantic. You were talking about Pokemon and Go and stuff. So we were looking at some of their AR features. You know, they do their presentation videos and everything. And we were thinking that, you know, if we could get some kind of similar features, but based in community buildings that are on fire, or, you know, the different issues that might have certain features that come up, so people who are playing the game can see as they're walking down the street, oh no, this building is where we need to go and help somebody who's drowning, or, you know, something like that.
Definitely.
That's kind of
absolutely
along the lines. And
I think it's so super needed, and that's what I've been focused on. Yeah, is really, I've got PlaceNote. I just put that in there. You can take a look at PlaceNote. PlaceNote is persistent AR. It works with GPS first and foremost to kind of get your general location. And then it makes world anchors, which increase the accuracy based on the structures and the shapes that AR Kit is able to identify. It's a really, a really good library. It's very simple. If you have the app and you added a bunch of, they are kind of like GeoJSON files, but there's a little bit more to them. And they tell you, hey, you're within 1 meter of this. It's going to start looking for similar shapes and features, and it will bring in your AR objects. And you can even use external objects like external packages and bring those in. So that's where a content management system like Plan Systems would be great, because there's a conversation happening between devices.
So good.
And MRTK.
Exactly. We're just looking at it from a different side, from
absolutely, and that's what it is. Awesome. It's all connected.
Yeah.
We get to see the elephant from every angle this way.
This is just.
I'm happy to get you guys visualizing that. We have let me share this other. This is our desktop visualization company, Sound Spectrum.
Okay.
We have with, I'll just, if you drop your email addresses in there, I'll issue you guys some licenses so you can check out our past work. And it definitely aligns in terms of the medical use cases and visualization of light and color. And that's exactly what this is all about, is procedural generation, but including sound. You remember the Winamp visuals, right?
Yeah.
Or the first iTunes visuals?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so our lead engineer is the guy that made those. Drew O'Meara, and so this is his company, Sound Spectrum, that we still lead, but we're sort of put it on the back burner while we're working on Plan.
Nice. And do these visualizations integrate with Unity, or is it separate?
They will. But
nice.
Yeah. Not right now, but GeForce will be the first thing that comes into Unity. Like, imagine replacing the Skybox with an audio reactive visualizer that comes out when your media plays or when your screensaver comes on.
That's really cool.
I was perusing the GitHub and didn't get to my answer for my question yet. Are you guys using an API or using Unity's API as a gateway?
No, we're using Unity to build the interface, and then we're connecting that through protobufs to the distributed or to the peer-to-peer layer, and also the distributed layer. So we're developing our own connection glue. It's kind of, that's how I would describe it, as like a technology glue that allows you to, glue your Unity scene to an infrastructure that supports your files and your communications.
I noticed that NPM supports P-Node, so that's an area I want to look into, unless if you're going to tell me, no, it's not compatible, because we want to look at this from different areas, and we're planning on using the open infrastructure as at least a minimum plan framework, basically.
Run it by me one more time.
Like open standards, open APIs, open tools, and how they operate. They stack those together first as the foundation, and then anything else we find out that we need, like, okay, well, we need something from Apache. Okay, we'll add that and tag it all according to its proper licensure. So anybody that wants to dig back in there, we go, oh, okay, I can strip this out, and then.
Essentially what happens is developers will develop custom channels and protocols and API integrations, based on their needs. And in some cases, maybe pay us to do it, or do it themselves, depending on how much it aligns with what we need to get done and how much bandwidth we have for that kind of stuff. Because there's some very obvious integrations that we want right away, like GitHub, because we're pushing our stuff out through GitHub. Although in the future we will be a kind of GitHub, right? But
Right.
in the interim, you know, we need a way to integrate and play with the way that the rest of the developer community plays, you know. But as you can imagine, like, a 3D Git compelling, especially considering Microsoft owns GitHub. You know, I'm not sure how many people are super enthused about that, but I'm not.
No.
Yeah, I heard
Too
about
much.
that a couple of years ago, and not many people were too happy.
And then if you go to the welcome to the team page and scroll down a little bit, you'll see the current channels, the channel types that we provisioned for in the infrastructure. Some of those you saw built in the interface, but not all of them are. Some of them we have to build interfaces
Right, like
for each of
space.
these channels.
That's about where I left off in reading the GitHub.
Yeah. You got it,
Right.
though.
So when would be a good time
So
to,
when would be a good time to follow up? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, you're talking the same language I am, just in different words. Follow up, yes.
Oh yeah, right on. Yeah, I was just gonna say, when would be a good time, Kahlil, for us to schedule a time for you to meet up with my collaborator, Drew?
I would say this week, Thursday or Friday. Tomorrow I'm pretty hectic, but Thursday or Friday I'm open, and would love to jam.
All right, I'll set that up.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, we'd love to see any of your work if you want to share anything that you've that might be online already or whatever.
Yeah,
And
I put this Instagram URL, the Eagle Condor Media. It's just kind of like a dumping ground for just like some rapid prototypes, some of this world scale AR that I've worked on, some random VR I do in Tilt Brush. So there's a bunch of stuff in there. But even when we meet up, I'll load up my main computer and we can look at some of the stuff direct. I'm really open with sharing all of my work. I use other people's libraries, not like, you know, I'm reinventing the wheel. You know, PlaceNote is another SDK, and MRTK, they're already built. I did buy some extra stuff like the WebView. I bought the WebView for Android and the WebView for iOS, and I got it through the Unity Asset Store. It's like $300 a pop for the different ones, but I got them so we can rapid prototype R and VR stuff.
yeah, we got that too actually already.
Oh, nice. You got the Windows one though, right? Or Mac one?
Got all of them, I think.
You got all of them. Oh, you bought the kit. See, I bought them piecemeal. I wish I got the kit now. Well, I'm really focused on the AR and VR, so I just bought those.
Yeah, that's fantastic because, you know, I just got 2 Oculus Quests so that when we show up at, you know, some sponsor meetings that I'm putting together, that we can pull that out and actually have them experience it in a full immersive context. And we think that will be pretty inspiring for people that.
It's perfect because if you download SideQuest before we meet, I can build out some APKs and send you stuff right away. We could work on something together, and I'm the type of person like, let's fucking build it now.
Yeah,
Right?
that's what we're doing. We're building it now.
Yeah.
That's
So
great, we are.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right, so
SideQuest is on the asset store.
What's that?
SideQuest is on the asset store, or
No, sidequest.com. It's its own special unit. You install it, and then I could send you an APK. You plug in your Quest with your USB-C cord and just drag it right into SideQuest, and it'll load it in there and install it for you.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
It's money. It's amazing. And they also have a repo of all these in progress weird ass games that people haven't put in the store, but there's a lot in sound and audio visualization in there that you might be interested in looking at if that's one of your fortes.
Great.
Some really cool virtual instruments and shit. So I love it. It's just a great thing. The Quest is kind of busting open the VR scene for everybody.
And it's specifically Unity, like tied to Unity as a platform?
I would say anything that can make an APK. I'm sure there's probably some people that are
Okay.
doing it in Unreal. I think
that's the package that essentially Unity uses to, is that it?
Yeah, because the Quests run on Android. So when you build out your Oculus Quest APK, it's pretty much an Android file that you sideload. And Quest is kind of the software that helps sideload it, even though you can sideload things with command line on a Mac.
Okay.
This just makes it easier.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll check it out and pass that along.
Cool.
Great to meet you guys.
Great to meet you guys. And
Be in contact and
reach out.
yeah, anytime.
Yeah, if you can, Kahlil, if you can put your email address here in the chat, we'll. Now, the link that I put up above for our folder, the introductory packet for Great Works Alliance, is through Google Docs, so it's on. You should be able to open it. If you can't, without requesting permission, I'll just get that set up as soon as we're done.
Oh yeah, it looks like again. So I'll take a look and looking forward to working through this.
Yeah, and let us know how we can help and when we can set up another time to brainstorm and help you guys get this all launched and with a great infrastructure.
Definitely reach out to me. Like I said, Thursday and Friday, I'm super flexible and love to do another talk with you guys and look through your white papers.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
That sounds great, guys.
All right, y'all. Have a beautiful afternoon, evenings.
Yes, you too.
Have a great night, guys.
And
Trying to get to it. I'm not seeing the mouse do anything.